Wow. Well, here we are. Welcome, everyone. We finally made it. It's almost 2 years later than originally planned, but we're here. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Beth's father, Ashley. As father of the bride, my main task in preparing for this wedding has been to provide my support and opinions on a number of subjects, and then agree with Beth that she's right. It's taken me a while, but I've learned that it's something I do quite well, eventually. Before I go any further, I wanted to take you all back to the beginning. Beth's first appearance into this world was not long after midnight on the 10th of August 1990. 3 weeks earlier than she should have been, and that's probably the first and only time she was ever early.
It's true.
Yeah. Every father blessed with a daughter, and those of you who may be in the future, is truly a lucky man. As I stood beside Jan, holding Beth for the first time, I realised a depth of love I've never known before. A special bond between a father and a daughter in these first few moments of life. It's never faded for me, and it never will. Safe to say she was a bit of a looker from the start. Lots of blonde hair, beautiful eyes, very demanding, and nothing's changed. She was a little smaller back then, of course, and her taste in companions differed slightly. Back then they were mostly furry. But Dumbo, her little elephant, wasn't Beth's only love. She had lots of passions growing up, and we've always been so very proud of her abilities, her many achievements, and of the beautiful, unique person she's become. She started early, one of 3 winners in a colouring competition at Next, age 4. Beth and her fellow prize winners were dressed in the latest outfits before taking photos for the Nottingham Evening Post, and little furry Dumbo didn't make the edit on that occasion. Then came the brownies. 14 badges, including her artist badge, of course, and also Sean, her house orderly badge. It's taken a while. Jan and I didn't see much of it, but I think it's kicking in a little bit now. Next came GCSEs, 13 of them, including a most unloved subject, maths. Even today, she has her own special way with maths. Somehow, her eBay sales seem to be calculated on me taking them to the post office and usually paying for them as well, although she does cough up eventually. Beth went on to sixth form for AS levels, then college and a BTEC National Diploma in Fine Art before beginning her degree. While studying for her degree, she was awarded both the Academy and the Principal's Awards, graduating with a first-class BA Honours degree in design from Nottingham Trent University. I know Beth may well be blushing as I tell you all of this, but it's a dad's prerogative to show off about his daughter's achievements on her wedding day. But as well as being talented, Beth has always been a joy to be around. And Jan and I have always loved our time together with her, and our holidays have produced some of life's highlights. Whether it was a 2-year-old Beth breaking down the dams we'd built on the beach and watching the water make their way to the sea, we'd spend hours on the beach and you couldn't keep her out of the water. Or Jan laughing at the sight of us, Beth running around with nothing much on, and me in my Speedos. It was a long time ago and I was a bit slimmer then, so no. We were doing handstands together in the swimming pools in Lanzarote and Halkidiki, walking hand in hand in the afternoons down to the harbour to buy ice creams. The memories always make me smile. I wouldn't say for certain I always knew that Beth was going to become such a talented artist, but the signs were there from very early on. Anyone who got through drawing books, pencils, crayons, paper, and the enthusiastic application of paint, not always on the paper, at such a rate was only going to go down one of 2 career paths, It was either a career in carpet cleaning or a heart. Of course, as many of you will know, she hasn't just worked hard to become a part of the design industry. She's carved out a career and is thriving in it. In fact, she's been nominated for and won more than one award. First, as part of a talented art file design team for the Best Luxury Christmas Card Pack. And then her first Henry's, individual Henry's Award for her fierce and fabulous range of cards. But as Sean knows, she's mostly fabulous and only occasionally fierce. Let's move on to what is one of arguably Beth's greatest achievements, finding a soulmate, Sean. Jan and I knew that it must be serious when Beth started to drive over to Burton-on-Trent most weekends. Along motorways, busy roads, late at night, snow, rain, blizzards. Fate played a bit of a part there, Sean, because before that first date, when you told her you lived in Burton, she thought you only lived 5 minutes away from us in Burton Joyce. Almost 8 years on, I can say to you now that you were the only boyfriend that I felt from very early on would take care of her properly for me, and who loved her as much as I do. So thank you, Sean. We couldn't wish for anyone better to join our family, and whose family we could be part of too. Although I may reserve judgment on that part until I've met a few more of them later, Darren. Fortunately for us, Sean, it's too late for you. But to be serious for a moment, I'd like to thank Sean for being such a wonderful, thoughtful and loving partner to Beth. And I want you to know that Jan and I are so very proud of you both. Another special person that I'd like to mention today is Sean's father, Nick. He and I have never had the pleasure of meeting, but I do know that you miss him so much, especially here today. However, I can say as a father, without a shadow of a doubt, he'll be so proud of the man you've become and will be sending you both his love today. I'd like you to ask you to raise your glasses and drink a toast to Nick and Sean. Nick and Sean. Also not able to be with us here today are Betty and Pete, Jan's mum and dad, Beth's lovely grandparents. They're 90 and 91 years old now and not in the best of health. But they'd like me to send you both their love and best wishes for the bright future you have together. Before I finish, I also want to thank Dina for raising such a perfect son. Well, almost perfect. And for taking Beth into your heart so lovingly. I'd also like to give an extra special thanks to each and every one of you for making the effort to be with us here today. A fantastic sight. It fills me with joy to look out and see so many smiling faces. Hopefully not all of which are smiling because you sense my speech is coming to an end. So finally, the biggest thank you of all must go to my daughter, Bethany. Told you, Todd. You've made me the proudest father on earth. Not just today, but throughout your entire life. I've been blessed with the finest daughter I could ever have dreamt of. And I love you so much. And in choosing Sean to be your partner in life, you've shown that, like me, you've got truly impeccable taste. I wish you both all the health and happiness life can give today and always. So without further ado, let's drink a little dance a little, and raise a toast to Bethany and Sean, the bride and groom. To the bride and groom.
So good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We hope that you're all enjoying what has been a truly special day so far. For those that you don't know me, my name is Todd.
And I'm Andy, and together we're the best men. And we're here for your mild entertainment.
Or torture, depending on how this goes. So I've had the pleasure of knowing Sean for at least the last 30 years, I think. Did we discuss it earlier? 30, 31 years maybe? How I've put up with him so long, I'm not quite sure. Maybe it's our shared bad luck of the football team we support, a similar taste in music, or the fact that we grew up on the same estate. But I think the main reason is the solid foundation that formed through those early years at school. Sitting together for years. But sitting next to you, Sean, at school was not always the best choice, was it? One particular lesson during our GCSEs tends to stick out in my mind anyway. What do you think that is, Sean?
Could be a couple, to be honest.
Maybe French.
Oh, okay.
Yeah? I'm not sure why, but Sean was very easily distracted in French and would usually be so bored and looking to entertain himself, which would often land us both into trouble. Unfortunately, for a lad called Craig Slater, he was usually the target of Sean's frustration, would often find himself being stabbed in the back with a compass, elastic bands being flicked at the back of his head, or one day, I think, Sean, your artistic flair came out a little bit too much. He decided to paint the back of his chair with Tipp-Ex until he leant back and painted his jumper too. Yes, Dina, that's right. That makes sense now, doesn't it? That's why you never had an appointment with a French teacher at parents' evening. Yeah.
I first met Sean at the fine establishment that is De Ferris High School.
Great.
At the tender age of 11, but I think our friendship truly started when we first learned of our shared passion of Wetherspoons and Burton's renowned club scene, aka Barracuda Dance Floor. Quite often the four of us, including young Nick over there, would go around the UK watching dodgy indie bands or playing football several times a week, including our own six-side team, which is unbelievably still going. Stow need a rest, top of the league, but bottom tier. So like many other friendships throughout the ages, football, alcohol, music brought us together, but 20 years later, we've still been good friends since.
Before we start laying into Sean, we first need to thank Ash for that wonderful heartfelt speech that just preceded this, even though it's made our job that little bit harder. So thanks for that. Yeah.
We'd also like to thank the beautiful bridesmaids. I'm sure you can all agree they look great today, only surpassed by the stunning bride. They've done such a great job for Beth today, and I'm sure over the last few months, I'm sure.
Also, we just need to give a quick shout out to all the bar staff and to Google for prepping us for...
Don't talk about Google, Todd. It is 100% original, I can assure you. Don't talk about Google.
Don't know what happened there. We both must say how beautiful Beth is looking today. Sean, you really are a lucky man to have gained such a beautiful, funny and talented wife. And Beth, you seriously must have the patience of a saint to put up with Sean. So with this in mind, Beth, I think you deserve a quick taste of your own. So please join me in raising your glasses to the beautiful bride. Cheers.
We better not forget to mention how radiant Sean is looking today. He obviously doesn't possess the natural beauty of Beth, but with the miracle of modern science and his rigorous cosmetic regime, we'll say, Sean, you are looking glowing today.
Sean is a true gentleman that has always had his eye out for his mates. Back in 2008, we all decided that for his 21st birthday, we would try and break the Magaluf club scene. All that you need to think of is the first In-Betweeners movie, and this will give you a pretty good idea of how this holiday went. The similarities are scary, and if anyone is wondering who is who, let's just say that Sean is the equivalent of Jay.
Cocky with a big gob.
Yep, so that summarises it pretty well, Andy. Yeah. And Sean, one thing that I've never forgiven you for comes from this holiday. We get to the beach on the first day, living it large, a little bit hungover from the night before, and being the well-prepared 21-year-olds that we were, none of us had packed any sun cream, had we, Sean? But rather, was it bronzing milk? Yeah? And Sean, being the true gentleman that he is, offered to walk back to the hotel quickly to go and fetch the sun cream that we left behind while me and Andy stayed at the beach nursing our hangovers. And 30 minutes passed. He'll be back soon, surely. An hour passed.
Todd, you look a bit red there, mate.
Yeah, 2 hours. Oh, what's that coming back over the hill? Oh, it's Sean. A little bit too late. Todd suffered third-degree burns in the Mallorca heat. Holiday ruined. Also that Sean could have a little birthday treat. I'll let Sean fill in the blanks later, but I don't think there are any blanks fired that afternoon. Sorry, mate.
Loyalty and Sean go hand in hand.
Really?
Actually, yeah, speaking of loyalty, Ash. I probably should have told you this on the stag do, but Sean's been in the closet for a long time now. A long, long time. Let me explain. One night in 2008, there was a heated night.
Vintage year for Sean, 2008.
Yeah. Well done. There was a heated night of passion where the excitement got a little too much for young drunk Sean. It was raining, balls were flying everywhere. After a long few hours, they couldn't be separated. Sean's adrenaline was running high. Yes, this could be the night he'd been waiting for so long. And then John Terry slipped, and the rest of say is history. That is right, Ash. Sean is not the Villa fan you thought he was. He's a United fan through and through. His beloved team had just won the Champions League, and yes, he celebrated long into the night, liberated and free to chant with his fellow fans. No longer had to be suffocated by the Villa veil that held him back for so long. The part-time Brummie may claim that he's a Villa fan, but the truth on that day came out loud and proud, and I couldn't be more happy to witness it in all its fine glory.
Sean is a truly driven individual with a competitive nature at his heart. Unfortunately, sometimes this competitive nature can get the better of him. Some may call this an incredible desire to win, but the truth is it can only be described as one thing.
Short man syndrome. This especially seems to come out on the football pitch, what would usually result in
Hey!
a 10-minute tantrum being thrown at his teammates for a perceived error, even if it's one of his best men here today.
Sean, I tried my best. B!
Being headbutted by the opponent for a questionable tackle.
Or C?
Headbutting the opponent.
What, in the bollocks?
Yes, we've established he's vertically challenged. Sean does love to win. I'm sure we can all agree that Sean has finally won today.
So, on a serious note, Sean, mate, you have actually been an absolute pleasure to know over the years, and we really did have to think long and hard about the previous ribbon we've just given you. But the themes we mentioned are genuinely true, even if we did come up with evidence to the contrary. You are a truly loyal friend and a gentleman who has always known what he wants from life and how to get it. Along the way, you have always looked out for the both of us and supported us through the good and the bad times, and we are all so proud of you and the man you have become. And we both could not be happier for you that you found your soulmate and asked us both to be such a big part of your special day.
I'm sure we can all agree that these two are perfect for each other. The way their relationship has blossomed has been truly wonderful to witness. Even with the disappointment of this day being delayed for a few years, their love has only grown and shown us what really matters. Now please be upstanding and raise your glasses.
Thank go absolutely bonkers for the fabulous couple, to Mr. and Mrs. Clare.
Cheers. Oh, I'm glad that.
A few stickers.
Everyone, too bad.
I don't know how I'll follow either of those up, but there we go. I'm sure it was. No. See, the hothead Sean would have said something back to that, can I just say, you know. Okay, so firstly, thank you everyone for joining us today and celebrating our very special day. I absolutely only intend on doing this once, so make sure that you enjoy yourselves as much as possible. We've had to wait a little bit longer for this day, but that extra prep time has made me feel no less nervous, as some of you have absolutely witnessed from the start of today to now. Despite when everyone has asked in the lead up, I've said, nah, I'm all good. Confident Sean has to come out. But firstly, I'd like to get a few thank yous out of the way. I know she's not here today, but I'd like to thank Donna and her team for all of their efforts in making the most beautiful venue, the most perfect location for us today. This is very much the result of everything happening for a reason, and to each and every one of our suppliers who have been so understanding and accommodating to ensure that we retain them from our original date. Thank you to my two best men for those impeccable speeches. I wrote this before, but you know. A brilliant stag do, and ultimately been the two best mates a guy could ask for. You can relax now and enjoy the rest of the day. Todd, watch the red wine. And Andy, don't go subbing for those plain cokes too early, please. Each of the gorgeous bridesmaids who have supported and looked after Beth superbly. You have been there for her during the heartache of having to postpone our original date and prepared her for today. I think you can tell a lot about a person by the friends that they choose. You are all so lovely, genuine and caring people, and it's been a pleasure getting to know all of you. Especially Fran. Only because she brings us lots of cakes. So the rest of you need to step it up. And Todd, I'm sorry, none of them are single. Thank you to Ash and Jan. Not only for your speech, Ash, which I wrote just, thank you for your speech, Ash, but dear God, what are you trying to do to us? There's not enough tissue in this room to, deal with that. It was impeccable. But to you both for creating this wonderful human being. Helping us make this day possible, and for welcoming me into your wonderful family, which I love being a part of. I heard and read a quote that said marriage is more than just the love for the person that you are marrying. It's embracing and becoming a part of the family. And I think that has captured beautifully how we feel about each other's families. I hoped when I asked for your approval to ask Beth to marry me that I was the type of man that you wanted to see her spend her life with, and I will forever continue to show you that I am. To my mum, the most incredible mother and woman, her strength, humour and caring nature, combined with the right amount of feistiness, which I like to think I've just took a little bit of, is everything that I aspire to be like. And she holds the most amazing genes. Just look at her. Stunning as ever, and I'll be thankful of those genes in years to come, Mum. Thank you also to her fiancé, Rob. You have been so good for her, and I'm so happy that a genuine and funny soul has come into her life and given her the second chance of love that she so richly deserves. I would also like to take a moment to acknowledge the special people that can't be with us today. My grandma and granddad, Bridie and Ken, my uncle Kevin, and of course my dad. I wish they could all be here to at least have met the woman that has made me the happiest man alive, but also to let us see all the people that have influenced and shaped me. It might explain a lot, to say the very least. Also to Beth's grandparents, as Ash has already alluded to, who we so desperately would have wanted here, and I'm sure are raising a glass to us at home, but aren't quite well enough to be with us in person. And lastly, I can't forget our beautiful cat Phoebe, who we absolutely would have loved to have got involved today. We're not quite that bougie, but it was close. It was close. But I tell you what, every single one of those people that I've mentioned, including Phoebe, would have known how to party tonight. So I want you all to sing loud enough for them to hear us. And so if I can just make a short toast to all those wonderful people that aren't here today with us. Thank you. Of course, my biggest acknowledgement goes to this wonderful lady. She made me promise not to embarrass her in my speech. Well, I'm sorry, Beth, I can't do that. You're going to have to listen for a few minutes of just how amazing you are.
Oh.
I tried to prepare myself for just how beautiful you were going to look today, but you made me as close to speechless as I've ever been, which, as we know, is a pretty special feat. I truly feel like the luckiest man alive today, and that I get to call you my wife. How did this wonderful journey start? Well, it's Christmas time, 2014. The Nottingham Christmas market was on. I was there with my friends, enjoying a festive drink, when this stunning blonde girl caught my eye. I couldn't leave without approaching her, and so we got talking at the bar, we exchanged numbers, and arranged to meet, and we never looked back. And there might be a few puzzled faces around this room for that story. I'm going to keep it clean, but I'm going to call BS. That isn't actually how our fairy tale began. That was the story that Beth concocted to tell her parents and her grandparents of how we met. It lasted quite a long time, actually. Reason why? Because she didn't want them to know we actually met on the online dating app Plenty of Fish. So I had to go along with this slight fabrication for nearly 2 years. It wasn't just a brief period, this was 2 years. It finally came out when we were waiting for our house to be built, and we had to live with Ash and Jan for a few months. One night, Beth was out with her friends, and I was having dinner with them both. And Jan came out and asked me, "Isn't it amazing how you two met at the Christmas market?" There was such a doubtful look on her face with such a wry smile. I knew this is it, the game was up. And needless to say, I wasn't about to get waterboarded by my future parents-in-law. Caved in straight away and told them the truth. However, I have absolutely zero regrets of how we met. I was blown away by Beth's picture and profile the moment I saw it. I mean, just look at her. I was convinced that she must be a catfish. There was a few. And as soon as we got talking, I was just simply so excited. She seemed so unique, had the personality, the looks, and immediately had me hooked. I mean, anyone that's come from Burton knows that the calibre of women there, excluding some. Here today, there's only a few of you. Why is there so many boos? It ain't much. Hills of Eyes kind of vibe, that's what you're looking for. But she absolutely had me hooked. So much so, I met up with my friend Steph just a couple of days later, and I literally couldn't contain my excitement, and I was convinced that I'd already met the girl of my dreams. After nearly 2 years of seeing each other only at weekends, we decided to buy a place together, and I made the full move to Nottingham, a place that I've fallen in love with, even if I have started to drop my H's a little. And I've learned new words, such as Bobo. That's a horse, by the way, so if you look out to the fields, you're looking at some Bobos. Ben knows that one, because we had a drink over that one. We've got together with 2 women from Nottingham, and what the hell? And I make no apologies for the amount of cliches I'm about to say. because in the 8.5 years that we've now been together, we share the same sense of humour. She's become my best friend and soulmate. She puts up with my moody and sarcastic ways and even accepts the fact that there isn't a song out there that I don't get some of the lyrics wrong to. We've connected over our love for travel, which has seen us visit over 8 different countries, with another 3 this year, and lots of staycations. You may have seen a few pictures of some waterfalls in the last month or so. Just wait for the honeymoon, geez God. In particular, one of our staycations is to Yorkshire. We've visited that 4 times and is the place where I asked her to be my wife. We both love gaming, crazy golf, which gets played on every single holiday that we go. Our similar TV show taste, in particular our love for The American Office, Stranger Things, and now shamefully Eurovision. Well, I've got to admit, I actually quite get into it. Kind of scoring and all that, yeah. I've even got Beth to enjoy horror movies now. This despite me hiding in a pitch black house after watching The Babadook one day and leaping out at her in pitch black and making her scream the house down. But I've still managed to get you two into a horror film. Most importantly, she knew how to make a fantastic cup of tea without any instruction, and that is pretty much the way to my heart. But also, the way to make me question you as a person if you get it wrong. And there's a few people here in this room that might testify to my fussiness over a cup of tea. Not only is she outstandingly gorgeous, she has the kindest soul and friendliest personality you could ever imagine. I'm constantly in awe and admiration of the amazing amount of talent she has. As many of you will have seen of the fantastic illustrations and work that she produces, and Ash has just reeled off every single award and everything that she's done. But I'm the one that gets to see all of the hard work and constant demand on that creative brain to keep coming up with such stunning work time and time again. Beth, all I can hope is that as your husband, I can be the man that you dreamed of getting old and grey with. That we can travel the world several times over, create the best memories, take 1 million more photos, live our best lives and continue to write our own special love story for many years to come. I love you with all my heart and thank you for accepting to share the rest of your life with me. Once again, I thank you all from the bottom of my heart for sharing our day and celebrating with us. But for one more time, can I hear it for the new Mrs. Clare? All right.